They must have heard something about what's going on here today, huh?
Man, we got some talking to do today.
We do.
Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell for Dave Brown, Corey Macklin, ready to go with another big day of action, and it's right here on the So We Know It.
I'll tell you how big it is already. Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert have headed to the ring, but first, let's tell you, not only are they here, Gorgeous George III is going to be going against Wolfie D in a match coming up a little bit later on. Brian Christopher is here. Scott Studd is here, and some big news concerning the unified title.
We have already had some action, and we haven't even gotten into the show. We'll be telling everybody about that in a little bit. Corey, let's get it on, buddy.
Okie doke, we're ready to go with the opening bout today on USWA Championship Wrestling Tag Team Action. First introducing at a combined weight of 477 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, Ken Raper, and his partner from every woman's dream, Reggie B. Fine. Their opponents, a combined weight of 483 pounds, wrestling from Lexington, Tennessee, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, and his partner from Atlanta, Georgia, Tommy Wildfire Rich. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. Bill Rush, your official referee. We're ready for it. Lance Russell and Dave Brown.
All right. Well, I can't wait to get things going. Hey, come on now, Rich. Almost knocking Corey Macklin out of the ring. Bell has sounded. We are just about into action here. Referee Bill Rush trying to get it 1 against 1. Looks like Ken Raper is going to be stepping out, and it'll be Reggie B. Fine starting against Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Okay, Tommy and Reggie. Boy, what a major announcement we've got in terms of a unified world title coming up, Dave.
Well, Bill Dundee has said he'll wrestle anyone who wants to challenge him for the unified title, and boy, he's making good on his word this week. Boy, there's a big one coming up.
Yeah, he took on that luck of the draw, just draw a name out. So he's serious about it.
But this week, coming up, the former Intercontinental Champion from the WWF, Razor Ramon, coming to the USWA, and he will be challenging Bill Dundee for the title. We'll have more to say about that as we go on.
Reggie running his mouth as Wildfire Tommy in there. Rich and Gilbert had some things to say prior to the match. Let's take a listen.
Somebody say something. Gonna be our day. You know, I don't know. People, you've got to be crazy for wanting the match. USWA, you got to be crazier for signing it. And Jamie Dundee, you've got to be the craziest one of them all for putting your name on the paper for a title shot. Because we've done laid you on your head one time, sent you to the hospital. And I know the doctor had to release you. You're walking around with that little cough. So what I'm talking about, it's not going to be a pretty sight when we get through with you, brother.
You know, J.C. Ice, somebody was talking about, they said he must know what pain feels like. Well, yeah, you know what pain feels like because I picked you up like a big sack of potatoes and I dropped you on your narrow head. You've got something, Wolfie D. You've got something that is oh so important to myself and Tommy Rich. And what that would be is the USWA Tag Team title. So, boys, if you really, really like wrestling, if this is how you want to make your living in life, let me give you a little advice. You can come out here on this TV. You can bring the belts. You can apologize. You can tell the people whatever you want to tell them. But the bottom line is you tell them that you've got in the ring with the baddest two men in the world. And what we're going to do, there's going to be no prisoners took. There's no threats. What this has come down to is a lot of promises and desires. This week, if you don't come and give us back what's ours, we're going to take your career.
Rich and Gilbert with new wrestling attire, Dave. They're all sported out in their black and silver outfits.
That's the new outfits, no doubt about it. But remains to be seen the outcome of the tag team title match coming up this week. That's their version of how things are going to go, but I think PG-13 will have a totally different idea about it.
Reggie taking a left hand from dangerous Doug Gilbert, right back in with a right, just showing he's ambidextrous. He can break the rules with either hand. Into the rope, the whip. Reggie coming off, goes underneath. Big clothesline. Puts Doug down. Reggie is a big guy. You sometimes overlook that. Ken Raper flying away at Doug and at Wildfire Tommy Rich. Scoop slam. Into the ropes at Raper with an elbow and is stopped cold by Wildfire Tommy Rich. He's not the legal man in there. In the air, Doug has him.
Hammered him down to the mat. The count of 3 falls, and Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich have double teamed without the benefit of a tag. Tommy Rich just kind of wandered in there, and they doubled up on Ken Raper, and they get the victory. So it's Rich and Gilbert with a win, but again, they got to have the numbers on their side.
Speaking of wandering in, Doug Gilbert from behind nails Reggie, and Rich kicks Raper in the head. That's their trademark. Get them down, then jump on them. Yeah. Well, wandering around in the studio is a face that is reasonably familiar. Jimmy Harris. We remember Gorgeous Jimmy. But his attire is a little bit different. He was part of what we were talking about earlier, Dave, that commotion that happened before we ever got going. Big ruckus outside. Corey got with a camera, went out to see what in the world it was on, if it was worthy of the show. Take a look at it.
His own property. He is my commodity.
Well, that's fine.
I am in full protection of him.
That's fine. Leave the people alone out here. Yeah, the fans have nothing to do with that stuff.
You will stand back, you will stay clear, and you will listen to me. You will respect me, and I dare you to put a tooth back in your head.
The people's not going to bother Brian Lee.
That's right. These fans have...
Okay, there you saw a little piece of it. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that won't be the last we'll be seeing of him, Dave.
Well, yeah, he said, he's got to check everybody out, and he's still checking everybody out.
Let's take a break, and we'll be back. Just a moment, we're going to be going up to Corey because we've got a tag team match we're looking forward to. David Haskins, Marcus Dupree going against Crusher Bones and Big Jack Hammer. And speaking of those guys, here comes Diamond Mike, their illustrious manager. What?
Mr. Football right here, baby.
I've heard you say that
Got
before.
the helmet in hand, baby, and we're in town, and we're back, baby. And I want to clear up a little fact. Who in the world is Marcus No Knees Dupree? Who is this joker? Who is this clown?
You're Mr. Football, and you're
Mr.
asking...
Football. I was home, Lance, the other night, looking through the books, looking through the pages, and I have yet to find Marcus Dupree on there. Who is this wannabe? Where does he come from? Fantasyland?
You're indicating he's not much of a football player.
Absolutely, he is no football player. I'm Mr. Football, 6-time world champion, Mr. MPV right here, baby. I play with all my personal close friends are Mr. Football. I'm
hold
Mr.
it
Football.
just a minute. I knew you'd be out here today, so I got my unfortunately not used often enough library card and went to the library and brought out a book. You see what this says right here? Willie Morris wrote The Courting of Marcus Dupree. Now listen to this,
Okay,
Diamond
now wait a
Mike.
minute. Does this come with crayons, too? Is this a coloring book, Lance? What is this joke?
This is a book written about the recruiting.
That's what I think about Marcus Dupree. Listen up. I'm going to have one of my soldiers Monday night. It really doesn't matter who it is. You know, me and my posse are in town because I told you before, there's not only a new sheriff in town, there's a new judge, jury, and executioner. So, Marcus, step right up. I gave you your chance to sit down and plead to Diamond Mike to not enter the world of professional wrestling. This is pro wrestling. This is what it's about. It's not football. So if you're any kind of man, it's time for a gut check, Marcus. Step on in. and you're going to get a beating of your life.
Okay, you've issued a football challenge to Marcus Dupree.
That's right, because I boldly go where no man has gone before, and he has entered my world.
It'll be
The
coming
dark
up.
side, baby.
Let's go to Corey Macklin.
Okay, Lance, we're ready for action right here in the ring. And first introducing at a combined weight, making their way to the ring area. Combined weight of 574 pounds from the open roads, Crusher Bones. And his partner from Detroit, Michigan, Jack Hammer. And in their corner, Diamond Mike. Their opponents today, making their way to the ring area. Combined weight of 495 pounds. From Memphis, Tennessee, David Haskins. And his partner wrestling from Philadelphia, Mississippi, Marcus Dupree. 1 fall, 10-minute time limit. Bill Rush, the official referee. Ready for this one, fellas.
Tell you what, any guy that doesn't know who Marcus Dupree is and his football legend hadn't been paying attention.
You got that right. And that fits him like he's been sipping through that straw on too many of them, I think, for too long a time. Okay, we're going to see Marcus right here, USWA Championship Wrestling, as David Haskins will be starting. Jack Hammer will be the opening opposition. David showing some of that speed. David, a former footballer, as a matter of fact, from college, and he's quite an athlete himself. Thing that I've been impressed about Marcus, he is just pure athlete, and athletes can do dadgum near anything.
Well, you know, I was just thinking about that. Diamond Mike did have a point. There is a big difference in football and wrestling, no doubt about it. But if you're an athlete, you can adjust to many sports. And I think that's probably going to be the case with Marcus Dupree. And I think maybe Diamond Mike has a rude awakening coming.
Here comes the first look. Jack Hammer. Take it. I believe he knows not only how to run the football, he knows how to use that shoulder, too. Marcus and David Haskins using the big blocks to put him down. Marcus' most recent signing with Arena Football Memphis Pharaohs. Crusher Bones, Jack Hammer saying, what is this? That give you a little more confidence he's a football player, Diamond Mike? Marcus Dupree in there with Crusher Bones. Crusher, lanky son of a gun, but he's big. With the arm, Marcus turns it over again. Yeah, he's picked up a lot from David, you know.
No doubt. Oh, he drops down on Crusher Bones' left arm. That's a good move. He's able to keep Crusher Bones off balance. Crusher looks a little disoriented in there. Here comes David Haskins. That's a man who knows what he's doing in the wrestling ring. No doubt about it. They double up on him, and Crusher Bones finds himself sitting on the mat.
David picks him up. Has an arm bar on him, and Jack Hammer plants a knee right in the middle of the back, and here we've got him trapped. Referee Bill Rush counting, but David slumps down to the knees before the referee can get him separated, and Hammer springs him off that top rope, Dave.
Using that top rope to choke, and then, boom, snaps that neck back. David bounced into the ring. Crusher Bones in with his boot across David's throat. David double-teamed over in the corner by Jack Hammer and Crusher Bones and finds himself in trouble as a result. There's a tag. Here comes big Jack Hammer in.
Jack Hammer from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, carries David over and power slams him right down into the mat. As Marcus leading the cheers in the corner, David would like to see a little more physical help. Right at the moment, Crusher Bones misses the leg drop, and Haskins to the corner tags Marcus.
Hey, what? Marcus can throw that forearm, can he? Look at that.
I'm telling you, he's probably had a few of those forearms thrown at him down on the floor. Haskins and Jack Hammer.
Marcus Dupree takes Crusher Bones down. 2, 3. He got him. Crusher was coming at him with that football helmet. Marcus ducked out of the way, slipped around behind him, and Crusher Bones has been pinned by Marcus Dupree. Marcus and David Haskins with the victory.
Something went wrong, Diamond Mike. I'll leave it up to you to figure out what it was. Crusher, as Dave said, had that helmet. Marcus too quick for him. Went around behind, rolled him up 1, 2, 3. Timeout and back in a moment. I love it.
All right, big action coming up Monday night down at the Coliseum. Huh?
We're still laughing about Marcus going
Oh.
in there. You know, we got this football challenge coming up, and maybe they better start worrying about wrestling more
challenge.
than the football. He's trying to show what a phony Marcus.
I was almost tempted to tell Diamond Mike he was leaving. Hey, Diamond Mike, this ain't football, but I didn't want him to throw that pineapple at me there. Me. Monday night, opening match. Hey, Razor Ramon going to be there. Tell you more about that in a moment, but do want to remind you that several fans are going to be lucky enough to have their picture made with Razor Ramon down there Monday night. Opening match right here. Chris Kanyon goes against Ken Raper. Follow that, Gorgeous George III against Scott Studd. And David Haskins against the Spellbinder.
That sounds like enough for a night of action right there, but that isn't all of it. We've got a mixed tag match that'll have Sweet Georgia Brown and Jack Hammer teaming together, and Miss Texas and Reggie B. Fine. At one point, I never thought that you'd ever see those two on the same side of the ring, but Reggie made a deal, and I think it was a good one for Miss Texas, and they'll be going in that mixed tag.
I think you're right. Then the football challenge comes up. We've been talking about it. Marcus Dupree will be going against Big Daddy Cyrus in a football challenge, and I tell you what, Big Daddy Cyrus got to be having some second thoughts after Diamond Mike didn't have things work out for his team the way he planned today.
I think they'll all be decked out in football attire, and that's going to be a real bone-busting one. How about this? A return USWA tag title match. Wildfire Tommy Rich, Dangerous Doug Gilbert against PG-13, and it's scheduled for both of them. We'll have more on the condition of JC Ice as we go along today.
The USWA heavyweight title is on the line. Brian Christopher, Too Sexy, will be putting the title up against, look at this challenge, Primetime Brian Lee. Primetime Brian Lee in here. Many fans know Primetime Brian Lee. He's big, he's tall, he's tough, and he'll be challenging for Brian Christopher's USWA heavyweight title.
That's going to be a little dandy right there, but that's not all of it by a long shot. How about this? The World Unified Championship. It's going to be the superstar Bill Dundee defending that title against the rugged former Intercontinental Champion from the WWF, Razor Ramon. What a card that's going to be.
Man, are you kidding me? Those two title matches alone are worth the price of admission and more. And you got all the other things which are going to be going on down there. Remember, several fans will get a chance to have their picture made with Razor Ramon.
Yes, sir.
Razor Ramon coming into the Mid-South Coliseum Monday night. Wow.
And we haven't seen Brian Lee, but we've seen a guy that calls himself the head of security walking around checking people out and all. Monday night, what a night it's going to be. The King had some comments to make about the USWA in general and some matches in specific. Let's take a listen.
Everybody, got a couple of things I'd like to talk about just for a second here. First of all, I want to mention that my good friend Bobby Ward out at Bluff City Used Cars at I-240 in Getwell just gave me a call and said that they are going to be bringing live USWA wrestling back out to their parking lot right there at Bluff City Used Cars sometime around the second week in April, and it's going to be absolutely free, and we're going to be telling you next week. He promised me we'll let you know next week the exact date. It'll be on a Saturday afternoon at Bluff City Used Cars, I-240 at Getwell. Free USWA wrestling. I'm sure I'll be there and all the other USWA stars, so get ready for that, and we'll tell you the exact date next week. One date we do know the exact date for, and it's going to be some fun and excitement at Sheraton Casino, USWA wrestling invading Sheraton Casino right down there in Tunica, Mississippi at the Casino Center, April the 13th. That's a Thursday night now, and get this, tickets are only $6. You're going to get to see all sorts of things, topped off by a casino battle royal, first time ever, involving myself, Bill Superstar Dundee, and Brian Christopher. Also, the girls are going to be down there, Miss Texas and Sweet Georgia Brown. And All the other USWA stars are going to be there at the Sheraton Casino. And watch a little bit later, they're going to be showing you a telephone number where you can call and reserve your tickets at the Sheraton Casino. That's going to be Thursday night, April 13th. It's going to be fun. And after the matches, all the wrestlers are going to be out there to sign autographs and meet all the fans. And, hey, might even play a slot machine or two with you. I don't know, you know. Anyway, now that we got all that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about some wrestling that's coming up at the Mid-South Coliseum Monday night. You know, it used to be that a guy's word meant something. I know if I told a guy that was going to be my partner, let's just say, for instance, it was somebody like Bill Superstar Dundee. You know, if I told him that I was going to be his partner in a big tag team match, he could count on it. He knew that I'd be there. He knew that I'd fight as hard as I could. He knew I'd try everything I had in my book of tricks, a bag of tricks, to win the match. I didn't have to sign a contract with Bill. My word was my bond. That's the way it's always been, at least as far as I was concerned. So, you know, a few weeks back, right here on Channel 5 Wrestling, when Bill Dundee won the Unified World title from me, with the help, I might add, of J.C. Ice, he was man enough to give me his word in front of all of you people. Everybody saw it. Right after the match, he stood right out here and told me that I would get the first shot at the title. I would get the first rematch. Well, you know, like I said, it used to be that somebody's word meant something. But apparently Bill's doesn't. Because it was just a couple of weeks ago that he had some kind of a luck of the draw battle royal, and the winner of that got a shot at the title, Tommy Rich. Well, Bill was lucky enough to hang on to the belt. But this coming Monday night, he's putting that belt back at stake again. But is it against me? Do I get the first title shot? Oh, no. It's none other than Razor Ramon. From the World Wrestling Federation, Razor Ramon is coming in here to Memphis, Tennessee to try to take the unified title away from Bill Dundee. Well, Dundee, all I can tell you is this. You promised me that title shot, and I ain't got it yet. So I'm just saying right here and right now, you better do whatever it takes. You better not pull any punches. You better think of every trick in the book to hang on to that belt. Because whatever you do, Dundee, don't lose my belt to somebody from the World Wrestling Federation. Understand?
King's got his eye still on that belt. Never had it off of it. I can guarantee you that, Dave.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get the first return shot, but it hasn't happened. Obviously, he's not happy about it.
Well, okay, we're going to be back. We'll see Razor in action, among other things, in just a moment. Dave, you were talking a little bit earlier today about Bill Dundee, 20-year quest of winning the Unified World title. He did it. He's that kind of determined wrestler. The son of a gun has certainly put the belt on the line.
Yep.
He went through that luck of the draw deal. Of course, Jerry Lawler would disagree with that because he hadn't put it on the line against Jerry.
him.
But part of that, in all fairness, and Bill would be the first to tell you that, I'm sure, and that is the fact that Lawler has had commitments outside of the area where he hadn't been here. Well, so that feud will go on and on. But he is putting it up against Razor Ramon.
Oh, yeah, big name coming in here.
Boy, I got to tell you. Let's take a listen now as we throw it over to Vince McMahon doing the commentary on a match that involves Razor Ramon. Here he is in action. Vince.
The World Wrestling Federation welcomes you, everyone. Yes, indeed, this is Vince McMahon at ringside. Take a look at one of the stars. Yes, one of the premier athletes in all of the World Wrestling Federation. He is oozing machismo. The bad guy, Razor Ramon. The gold dripping from his neck. And the bad guy makes his way to the square circle. And by the way, Razor Ramon makes his way to Memphis this Monday night. Razor, right in your face, Jerry the King Lawler. Yes, indeed, Razor Ramon. too happy about it, that's for certain, because the King was promised the first title defense, and guess what? The King's going to be on Monday Night Raw. Oh, my! But you can bet the fireworks are going to explode this Monday. Razor Ramon with an opportunity to wear more gold than what he has around his neck. The bad guy sliding into the ring in Memphis, the Mid-South Coliseum, this Monday night. Yes, indeed, the premier performance, the debut, if you would, of the bad guy, Razor Ramon. And again, I said, Jerry the King Lawler's not going to be happy at all that the bad guy gets the first title defense, yes, against Bill Dundee. Lawler wants that matchup with Dundee so bad he can taste it, but commitments being what they are, Jerry the King Lawler, who, as everyone in the USWA area knows, is no friend of yours truly, is going to be on Monday Night Raw. Too bad for Lawler, other commitments keeping him from Bill Dundee, but nothing will keep the bad guy away from Bill Dundee. Something tells me, however, that we have seen this wrestler, this so-called Black Phantom, that Razor's hooking up with. We've seen him before. Now, wait a minute. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Look, he's acting as though his hair was pulled, and he's wearing a hood. He's wearing a mask. I've only seen one other person do that in my life, and that was, can it be? Well, I better not say. The bad guy winds up the Black Phantom. Top wrist lock now. Let's see what happens. And the bad guy right behind the Phantom. Nice maneuver. Nice reversal there. Razor Ramon looking for the escape and finds it. The Phantom having his problems. Oh, right in the jaw. Elbow in the jaw. The Phantom moves in. Look at this. Hammering away. And the bad guy spins the Phantom around. And, oh my goodness, what a reverse knife. And then again one. Yeah, look at that. The Razor is pouring it on. And for the ride, it's... I don't know who that is. I still better not say. But I could have sworn I've seen that. It's someone you never see underneath a mask. Oh, wait a minute. Razor Ramon in complete control. And his opponent, the Phantom, in a cowardly-like fashion now, trying to find a measure of escape and just can't find it. The bad guy, wrapping up the Phantom and adding a little insult to injury. Now I'm certain I know who that is in there. Who is the Black Phantom? Well, I don't know if you folks are gonna. I still better not say. I don't think the USWA fans are gonna be too happy when I reveal who the Black Phantom is. But you can tell by the way he has no offense. You can tell by the way he has very little defense. You can tell by the way he's intimidated by Razor Ramon. Who that is in the ring? Look at this. The bad guy, Razor Ramon, is just all over the town. Oh, baby. Listen to that voice. I know exactly who that is. Except he shaved his chest. Now keep this in mind. The person I'm talking about shaved his chest and changed his complete wrestling attire. And when I tell you who this is, you're not going to believe it. I'll tell you. Razor Ramon, ladies and gentlemen, wanting to have at the Black Phantom, if the Black Phantom is who I think it is, for a long, long time. Oh, the Phantom's going up. Uh-oh. That's where he likes to sit on a perch, all right, but he won't be up there for long. Oh, no! All the way down the canvas. Razor Ramon in complete control at the moment. Will he be in control this Monday night in Memphis? Will he take the USWA Unified Championship from Bill Dundee? Will Bill Dundee be on the receiving end of the Razor's edge? Razor Ramon now with the Phantom. Uh-oh. This is bad news for the Phantom. Bad news, and up he goes. Yes, there's only one place to go from there. And down the canvas. The Phantom on the receiving end of the Razor's edge. You can bet that Bill Dundee is looking on saying, oh no, I hope that's not me. I hope I don't lose the title this Monday. Jerry the King Lawler would be so angry with me because I promised him the first defense in. I lost it. I lost it to the bad guy, Razor Ramon. All right, and there you have it. Razor Ramon, the bad guy, victorious over. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? The Black Phantom is actually Jerry the King Lawler. Yeah, it's Lawler himself. Jerry the King Lawler underneath the hood. Knowing full well he's no match for the bad guy, Razor Ramon. He may not even be a match for Bill Dundee. Razor Ramon
not sure I agree with Vince's assessment of who was under the hood there, but
I think a
Razor
personal
Ramon
animosity getting in the way of his judgment there. But I'll tell you one thing, that didn't for 1 minute diminish the fact the bad guy is a bad son of a gun, isn't he?
It's true, and I tell you, Razor Ramon is impressive. There's no doubt about it. There is someone else who's very impressive, too, and that's the man who has the championship belt. I think this video that you're going to introduce right here, some of the fans may have seen it before, but I think it personifies the length of the quest of Bill Dundee for this title.
Exactly right, because this particular video is one that tells you it's not all glamour at all. Let's take a look at Bill Dundee and some of the days and nights that were involved in the making of a champion.
Okay, real quickly here, I want to take a look at USWA action on tour. USWA Championship Wrestling, Kennett, Missouri, Friday night, April the 7th in Kennett, American Legion Building, 7:30 is bell time. There's a new location to pick up those advance tickets in Kennett. You can pick them up now at the Daily Democrat newspaper right there in Kennett, Missouri. Save $1 on those advance tickets. You see the big lineup in Kennett coming up Friday night. Jerry Lawler, Brian Christopher, Rich and Gilbert, Dundee, Coco Beware. PG-13, all in Kennett, Missouri, Friday, April 7th. Thursday, April 13th, Sheraton Casino. Tunica, Mississippi, there at the Casino Center for USWA Championship Wrestling. For reservations, you can call 1-800-391-3777 for USWA Wrestling. Thursday, April 13th, Sheraton Casino. Friday, April 14th, Blytheville, Arkansas, National Guard Armory on Division Street. Save $1 on those advance tickets for wrestling in Blytheville, Arkansas. Friday the 14th, 8 p.m. bell time there. Thursday, April the 20th, Finger, Tennessee. Wrestling there in Finger there at 7:30 bell time at the Recreation Center. Sponsored by the City of Finger. USWA Wrestling in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Also coming up, USWA Super Action there. Verona, Mississippi for USWA Championship Wrestling. Friday, April 21st. And also a special note here, fans, for wrestling that was scheduled in Clarksdale, Mississippi on Friday, April 21st. That wrestling has been rescheduled. Stay tuned and we'll give you another date for wrestling in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Originally scheduled for Friday, April 21st, has been rescheduled. But let me tell you, there is going to be wrestling Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Unified World Heavyweight title bout. Superstar Bill Dundee defending his title against Razor Ramon. I want to be right there for all of that action. And, Dave, let me tell you, what a great bout that's going to be.
Well, I tell you, bringing Razor Ramon in here, big, powerful guy. Bill Dundee is going to be giving away some size, but
he always does.
He's done that so many times that, yeah, there's no doubt Bill Dundee will be looking for victory and to hang on to the Unified World title, which he has been defending quite regularly. Maybe we can get the champion out here and have a word or two before we take another break. And here he is, got the belt in hand. The Unified World title held by the superstar Bill Dundee. We've said it before. We've said it a couple of times today. He tried 20 years to get the world title, and finally, he's got the title, and I'm sure wants to hang on to it. Man, you talk about a challenge coming up this week.
Mr. Dave Brown, before I get started on that, I'd just like to clear something up with Jerry Lawler. If I give you my word, son, you can take it to the bank that it's true. But we can't shut USWA down while you're up there at WWF running around. You want a shot at this belt? I told you you'd be the first one. When I went to Eddie Marlin and told him, sign it up with Lawler, you know what Lawler said? Can't be there, old Billy boy. I got to be up there kissing Vince McMahon's you-know-what. Well, son, when you get back, you can get a shot at this belt, because make no mistake, Razor Ramon ain't taking my belt back to the WWF. Now, Ramon, let me tell you something, brother. And I want to give you a little history lesson. Up at the other side of the Mason-Dixon line, you're probably a big, bad guy. That's what they call him, the bad guy, right? You got gold chains, you got all kinds of things, and I'm sure all the brothers and sisters up there, when you come to the ring, they get up and they say, whoa, there it is. But when you get down this side, Chico, that's somebody right. Somebody yelled it on out. I don't know what Chico means, but let me tell you something, brother. When you get down to this side of the Mason-Dixon line, that's the South. That's where they like 'em a little bit smaller and a little bit quicker. Oh, and I've done wrestled them all your size, brother, since I was going to high school, because all the big bullies in high school used to say, let's beat up Bill Dundee, because they wanted to prove something to some girl that they were big and they were bad. But you know what happened, Chico? They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And Lance Russell has said it a million times. Pound for pound, you're looking at the baddest dude in the wrestling business. Now, I know what they say, a good big guy can beat a good small guy. But there's always exceptions to the rule, Chico, and you're looking at the exception to the rule. They've all came through here, brother. Hulk Hogan's been through here, and he never did it. Ric Flair's been through here, and he never did it. And your list goes on and on and on. Because who rolls in this neck of the wood used to be Jerry the King Lawler. Now it's Bill Superstar Dundee. And if you think I'm going to give that away to some big goof that comes out with sparkles and all kinds of things, making him look bigger and better than he is, you're wrong, brother, because you're coming into my backyard. Now, Vince McMahon, you can think that was Jerry Lawler in that mess, but if it was, he would have whooped Chico, and he wouldn't have been coming here Monday night. It would have been Lawler. But Lawler can't be here, so they've sent you. And if they've sent you down, they figure out somebody from the north can beat somebody from the south, brother. It's all a big mistake. McMahon, you're going to eat that big goof when I send him back to you. Now, I'm not selling you short, brother. I've seen all them moves that you do. They're all big and strong, powerful moves. But when you pick up them weights in the gym, they ain't wrestling and they ain't fighting back. And I've said this a million times. Wrestling is physical chess. And that means you make a mistake,
and I capitalize on it. And that's exactly what's going to happen Monday night. Because, Jerry Lawler, I want to beat you up one more time and prove to the whole world it was no fluke when I beat you for that belt. So, Chico, or whatever you call yourself, first time in Memphis Mid-South Coliseum. Tuesday morning, you're going to have to get on that airplane. And I know what you be saying now. You'll be walking through that airport with that toothpick in your head, gold all sparkling, and all the brothers will be coming up to you at the porters, and they're going to say, you're going to wrestle Bill Dundee tonight, Monday night. And you're going to say, yeah, man, and I'm going to beat him. I'm going to whoop that little punk all over the building. But Tuesday morning, you're going to have to walk back the same aisle to get on the same airplane to go back to the stinking WWF. And you're going to have to tell the same skycap that Bill, Superstar Dundee, beat your brains out and beat you, brother, because this is my backyard, and I'm keeping the belt. Thank you, Dave.
Couple of things that you can take to the bank. Number one, Razor Ramon is tough, and he's going to be coming in looking for the belt. And second, Bill Dundee has been going against some big guys. He's turned back every challenge. He'll try it again Monday at the Coliseum. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Okay, hey, I see one of the contestants in the ring. Yep. Let's go to Corey for the introductions, buddy.
Okay, we're ready for a single bout here today on USWA Wrestling. First introducing 241 pounds, wrestling from New York City. Here is Chris Kanyon. And his opponent today, 229 pounds, wrestling from Atlanta, Georgia. What is that? Oh, Jimmy.
I know we got the head of security out here for...
Yeah. Whoa. Wait a minute. We got a match coming up in here. We'd like to...
I don't care about your match. I have just been in... I'll be bringing him in shortly. The crowd's fine. The most valuable commodity in wrestling today, primetime Brian Lee, has just pulled up in the parking lot.
You mean he is here now? Our presence is about to be great.
He is in the building. Anybody messes with primetime Brian Lee, my commodity, will answer to me.
Well, we've got, wait, Corey, wait just a minute here. Head of security, Jimmy Harris, walking around looking the crowd over, announcing that primetime Brian Lee has just arrived. Gee whiz.
Where is he?
I see it. Hardly wait.
I see him headed, where's he? He's headed. Oh, he's headed toward the parking lot door there.
Yeah. That's head of security for the president? No. For primetime Brian Lee. And that's the parking lot outside. And, whoa, big impressive limo. And, well, there he is. Big Brian Lee. Certain that thrills the heart of Brian Christopher.
Oh, yeah. Brian's going to have to be defending a belt against this man.
Yep. Coming into the building, provided everything is still okay, according to his head of security. Keep everybody under control and in their seats. And here they come. Boy, we've missed everything but the coronation here. Coming in right now, you know him, we all know him. Very large and rugged gentleman, no doubt about that. Primetime Brian Lee is here.
You got that right, Lance Russell. You know, it's out of my element to come out here to such a low-budget TV this early in the morning.
Oh, well, sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Because Primetime is an international star now.
Yes.
You know, office hours don't open until about 3 a.m. So I come out here, I graced you, all these rednecks with the appearance, and I just want to say one thing. I signed a big, lucrative deal with USWA.
Yeah, well.
Big money contract. Just call me Fat Money.
Because, see, what they said to me was, Primetime, come on in here. And, of course, I have my stipulations. I have to have a title shot my very first appearance in the ring.
Oh, that's pretty big demand right
You're
now.
exactly right. That's pretty big demand.
Wait a minute. I don't want to be
Lance,
rude.
why are you interrupting me?
Hey, because
Lance,
I
this
just
is my
want to.
time.
I want to remind
My
you.
suit costs more than your suit. Don't interrupt me.
I'm sure that it
You're
did.
exactly right.
But everybody here knows you. You got started.
You interrupt him again, you will mess with me. You understand that, Russell?
Hey, what is this around? We don't need
This right here is Jimmy Harris. And he's also a commodity, and he's also getting paid big dollars by Primetime Brian Lee. And I tell you what, if you mess with him, you got to mess with me. You mess with me, and you got to mess with him. And that's the big, bad thing. You see this boy here? He's a pit bull, and he'll break you in half. But before I was rudely interrupted, Lance, I wanted to tell the people something. I am not going to take the stairs like a regular wrestler. I'm not going to come in here and work my way to the top. I'm walking right in, I'm pressing that elevator button, and I'm going straight to the top floor. Now, Brian Christopher, I understand, is the champion.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. I don't know nothing about him. I don't want to know anything about him. But all I can say is this, Brian Christopher, Primetime is here. What are they doing, Lance?
Well, what they'd like to see is a little action. Scott Studd just came in, and we would like to. We'd like to get.
Time.
Hey,
This
we
is
got
my
a match
time.
scheduled now.
What?
Brian, we're glad to see you in the USWA, I think.
You
But
have
we've
to
got
be kidding me.
we've got a
You're
match.
kidding
going.
me. You're putting this in front of me. Look at this garbage in
Yeah.
the ring.
All right, let's go to Corey and finish the introductions on it. You're just going to have to wait and let us get a little wrestling action in. That's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Okay, Lance, before we so rudely interrupted in there, let's finish with the introductions. 229 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Scott Studd.
We've got the
One fall, a 10-minute time limit for this next
pretty
bout.
popular wrestler. Come on. Don't be messing around. We don't need any extra security. We got our own.
Well, we're just fine with security, thank you. And we're underway with the action here. Scott Studd taking on Chris Kanyon.
You have to be kidding me. You mean this is over me?
Well, Brian,
You're putting Scott Studd before Primetime Brian Lee? Dave Brown, don't slip up. Don't slip up, because I'll have my boy hit you right in the lip stamper.
well, let me tell you, this is, if you'll check the title of the program, it's wrestling. Now, we also do interviews, but, you know, it took so long to get you out of the car and in here. We're glad to make the time available, but, you know, there's only so much time available, and if you want to spend half your interview time getting out of the car, we've got to get the match underway.
Scott Studd.
Scott Studd.
Studd.
Prime time, Brian Lee with commentary here.
Scott Studd wrapping the arm up, and a nice reversal by Chris Kanyon. Chris making the move. Hey, we've got a football player who's into wrestling, and why not? Ex-New York Ranger.
I can put this guy down in 5 seconds.
Oh, yes.
I'm in a suit and tie, and I'll take this guy out in 5 seconds.
Don't worry about it. You
Like I
save
said,
your...
Lance, I'm prime time, and I'm not used to being up this early.
You wouldn't want to bother with anything like this. It's not a title match. Chris Kanyon made Scott Studd miss a bad one, and Studd hit hard right on his back, Dave.
Yeah, and he's been in trouble. He's still in trouble. He catches the upper arm. Scott Studd trying to shake it off. There's a cover. 1, 2. Kanyon only able to hold him for a 2 count, but Scott Studd was almost out of this match. Backed into a corner.
Is this the best USWA has? If this is the best USWA has, they might as well go ahead and charge me with grand larceny because I'm still in a check. They're paying me to come in here, and they said they had competition. I see no competition.
Well, we'll be glad to talk to you at the appropriate time, so let us concentrate on the match, please. Scott Studd whipped diagonally across into the... Look at that beautiful roll-up. 1, 2, 3, yes!
Scott Studd with the victory. What a comeback by Scott Studd. Chris Kanyon had him in trouble. Now Kanyon is claiming he pulled my tights. You only counted 2. Every excuse he can think of, and he can keep up with the excuses if he wants to. But Scott Studd's the winner. I'm not sure that's a wise idea, Scott. You just won the match. Inviting Primetime Brian Lee into the ring.
Brian Lee pulling his coat off. I can't. Yeah.
We'll leave it here for you. How about that?
Prime time from behind. Look at that, Dave. Jimmy Harris clubbed him with that walkie-talkie right in the back of the head. And here comes prime time. Oh, yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You really proved a point.
Yeah.
Hit a man in the head with an object like that walkie-talkie and then act like you just pinned him in that short of time. Yeah, Brian, we're really impressed.
I'm disappointed to think that's what we're going to see from a guy the size of Primetime Brian Lee.
Yeah. What I want to know, is that the way you win all your matches? Have this guy come up and hit him in the head like that?
You're on a need-to-know basis, and right now you don't need to know. You see, it was simpler than I thought it was going to be. I told you 5 seconds. How long did it take, Lance? 2? 2 seconds?
Well, that
1, 2, 3 count. He's down on the mat, and that's exactly the way every opponent's going to go against Prime. Now, look at me.
Hey,
I'm in a suit.
No, I'm not looking at anything. We're going to
tie.
take a break,
No,
and
we're
we're
not
getting
gonna
out
take
of
a
here.
break.
Yes, we
You
are.
talk to me.
You watch and see.
Well, we have witnessed the arrival of Primetime Brian Lee in the USWA. Here's a man who's been in the USWA for quite some time. He started out as a youngster, rapidly advanced to the championship level. Boy, he's there right now. He wears the USWA heavyweight title around his waist. He'll be defending it this week against Primetime Brian Lee. But here's the champion. I'm talking about none other than too sexy Brian Christopher, headed this way right now. And Brian, I know you've been watching the monitor. I know you've seen his Primetime Brian Lee.
Dave, not only have I been watching, and I know not only did I see him, but I've been standing back there in the back, and I've listened to a lot of people come out here and run their mouth. I sat back there and I listened to Bill Dundee running his big fat mouth, and then, like you said, I listened to Primetime Brian Lee come out here and run his mouth. And what an impressive entrance he made in that limousine, huh?
That's true.
It was an impressive entrance, and he said he came in here and he signed a big, big contract, and he was telling the truth, Dave. He did sign a big contract. And his first match, he said, was going to be a title match. And that's true, but it wasn't by his choice. It was by mine, because like I've said before, I will take on any and I will take on all comers. Anybody that wants to challenge me for this belt right here, I'll take them on. And I'll take them on with a smile on my face, because I love a challenge. And you know, everybody might not like the tactics I use to win my matches, but I'll tell you one thing. Brian Christopher is a winner. Brian Christopher is a champion. And Brian Christopher does not have to hide behind anybody. Now, I saw Brian Lee out here, and it looked to me like he always had that head of security, Jimmy Harris, watching his back. He said, you mess with me, you're messing with him. You mess with him, you're messing with me. Well, Jimmy Harris, I don't have to have anybody watching my back. I don't have to have anybody watching my front. I'm a man, and I do things on my own. Now, Brian Lee, what you've done is, I got a match coming up right now. And I'm going to step in here, and I'm going to show the world what Brian Christopher is made of. I'm a champion, like I said, and I'm going to prove it right now.
All right, Brian Christopher headed to the ring. Brian Lee was out here saying, hey, is this all the competition you have? Want to see some competition? Brian Lee should probably be watching a monitor. Let's go to Corey for the introduction.
Okay, Brother Brian, we're ready to go with that. 1 fall, 10-minute time limit for our next bout. First introducing, 218 pounds, making his way to the ring area from Caruthersville, Missouri, Sergeant O'Reilly. And his opponent, 222 pounds, from Memphis, Tennessee, the USWA heavyweight champion, Too Sexy, Brian Christopher. 1 fall, a 10-minute time limit to Lance and Dave.
All right, Brian Christopher here in a non-title match today. The champion will be going against Sergeant O'Reilly. Sergeant O'Reilly's been around before. Looks like he's added a pound or two since we saw him last time, and has lost the Army fatigues that he used to be so fond of wrestling in.
Dave, I don't know whether you've noticed or not, the tights on those two wrestlers clash just a little bit. I don't know whether I can get by that or not.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Stripes and checks don't go together, right? Brian Christopher, set to go. I tell you what, when we were talking to him a minute ago, I found it pretty hard to disagree with anything Brian had to say.
He told it like it is. He do what it takes to win it. He is his old man. And, brother, what an amazing, you know what I found hard to believe? Brian Christopher said, Brian Lee said, oh, I don't know much about Brian Christopher. You know, when I hear a guy say that about somebody who's got a reputation that's nationwide like Christopher has, they talk about him as one of the finest young wrestlers in the country today. And here's somebody like primetime Brian Lee say that. He's just covering up something.
I think so. And head of security for primetime Brian Lee has just reappeared. Yeah, Brian is not too happy to see him out here, and I got to confess I'm not either. We don't need him here. If he wants to take care of security for Brian Lee, okay. From behind, Sergeant O'Reilly nails Brian Christopher.
Well, speaking of behind, we had seen earlier Jimmy Harris come up behind Scott Studd and nail him with that walkie-talkie.
Here's prime time again. This is the champion, that's right.
You got it. He's got the belt. You're the one that's going to have to try to take it away from him. Sergeant O'Reilly finding out it's not so easy to get in there with him.
Yeah, but look at Sergeant O'Reilly and look at me. You're comparing a Pinto to a Rolls Royce. Don't ever compare me to Sergeant O'Reilly.
Riley just popped back in. Well, he does have a point.
That's a point.
There.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt about that. Brian Christopher showing his stuff.
Brian.
You see that? Your champion's cheating, Lance Russell. Your champion's a cheater. Primetime Brian Lee never cheats.
Well, let's try. Walkie-talkie ring a bell? Maybe not. All right, rang Scott Studd's bell.
Did I put nothing but one finger on Scott? One finger.
Yeah, after he'd been wailing.
One finger, Lance. Answer the question. Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, next witness.
Yeah. Working around to get your kind of an answer in there, but we're not fools. We saw what happened before that. O'Reilly coming down hard, and he missed him because Brian's out of the way. That's one of the things that prime time may not be used to, and that's somebody with a speed.
Whoa, the super kick.
1, 2, 3. And he didn't use a walkie-talkie to put him down.
He didn't use the walkie-talkie, and I didn't see him use a chain either, although he has been known to from time to time.
Yeah.
He just beat Sergeant O'Reilly there, and that was, I think, a demonstration to primetime Brian Lee. Whether it sinks in or not, I don't know. But I think Brian Christopher was saying, hey, let me prove to you what you got ahead of you. Brian Lee up on the ring apron. Brian Christopher says, come on in here.
He's trying to sucker him like they did Scott Studd.
Look out behind, Brian. The head of security with his walkie-talkie in the corner. He's on one side of Brian Christopher. Brian Lee is on the other. And Brian Christopher watching them both. You got to keep your eye on both of them, Brian. Brian was watching them monitor. I asked him in the interview, did you see it on the monitor? He said, yeah. Now the walkie-talkie goes to prime time. Brian Lee. Brian Christopher blocks him. But from behind, oh, man.
He pulled something
What was that? Something he pulled out of his belt there. Looks like some sort of short blackjack or something. I don't know what it is, but he sure hammered Brian Christopher with it from behind.
Yeah,
and once again, you got to double up on him, huh?
There it is.
Once again, Lance Russell, suit and tie, 5 seconds,
and my opponent's on the ground. You see how easy that was going to be? It's going to be a lot easier.
I don't know what he had, but he certainly hit him with that collapsible nightstick or something, and trying to hit him with the walkie-talkie. Well, I got news for you, Brian Lee. Tell you what you better do. You better look out, because Brian Christopher is the kind of guy that can turn around and pull anything out of his sight he's got a mind to, and he's going after him. Boy, he got whaled by that head of security.
Boy, he really hammered him with it, whatever that is, right in the back of the head.
He's talking with Bill Rush. Where'd he go? Who was it hit me from behind? And that's exactly what happened to him. He blocked the effort by Brian Lee to hit him with that.
Now Brian Lee's getting out of the building, it looks like.
Yeah. He's heading out to his limo with the ever-present Jimmy Harris, head of security.
Brian Christopher's watching this on a monitor across the studio. He sees him leaving.
He's going after him. Christopher went roaring down there, trying to find out. Got him a trash can. He's going to be a little late. But there will be a time when they will be right there facing each other. Though he missed him at this point, they'll be meeting up later on, Dave. Take a break and be back in a moment.
Hey, all right, we are back. Shifting around here just a little bit. We got a match coming up here in just a moment. Wolfie D will be in the ring, and here he comes right here. He's got the USWA tag belt in his hand. He's got a hubcap in his hand, too. He was going to be going against Gorgeous George III in a match here in just a moment. But before we get the match underway, we would like to bring him on around, get a word or two, maybe get an update on the situation with Jamie. Jamie's been injured for a couple of weeks, I'm sure you know. Wolfie, not only do you have a tough match here today, you got a big one coming up later on this week.
That's right. I was sitting back there and I was listening to Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert out here running their mouths. And for the first time, I think I agreed with what they said. They said that J.C. Ice was hurt to the point where it can hurt his career to get into this match. He can be crippled for life. And as I thought about that, they said come out here and forfeit the titles because, Wolfie, you don't have a chance. And if you have any respect for your partner, you won't put him in that situation and you'll forfeit the titles. So what I'm going to do, Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert, is tell you that you don't know PG-13 very well, do you? Because we ain't giving up nothing that we worked this hard for. And do me a favor and play that music.
There's the music. Oh, and here comes J.C. Ice.
He knows. I just want you to know.
Well, that's exactly right. I think that maybe you two have made that comment before, that only y'all know when the JC is ready to go, and here he is right here. How is the neck?
There's only, like I said last week, one good thing about wearing a neck brace, and that is when it's time to take it off. Not a doctor in the world, not Wolfie, not my dad, not my mom, not nobody can say, J.C. Ice, your neck is better. Because only I know when my neck is better. And you see, Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert, we may be a lot of things, but quitters we're not. And I am like Mike Tyson, Jack. I'm out and I'm ready to rumble. So Doug Gilbert, Tommy Rich, I promise you, this Monday night in Memphis, Tennessee, J.C. Ice is going to let you know whether this neck is better or not. And Wolfie D, thank you for being a man you are, baby.
All right, PG-13.
He's back in the house, and don't you forget it. We'll see you this week, boys.
Monday night tag team titles are going to be on the line. Titles are not on the line right here. But there's something on the line. Let me tell you, there's quite a history between these two guys who are coming up. Let's go to Corey for the introduction.
We're ready for it for this bout here on USWA Championship Wrestling. First introducing 239 pounds wrestling from Hollywood, California. Making his way into the ring area now, Gorgeous George the Third. And his opponent from the hood, Wolfie D. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. Lance Russell, Dave Brown.
Beginning to run tight here today. Gorgeous George Third over here killing time instead of wrestling.
Ooh la la. You know, lads, I'm not worried about Wolfie D, because I always got my ace in the hole.
Yeah, well, you better be worried about him, I'll tell you that.
Ace in the hole, he says. Well, we'll see as he climbs in here against Wolfie D. I tell you what his ace in the hole may be. He may figure if he can kill enough time, he'll run the time limit out because he's in danger of doing that.
One preparation that Randy Hales took prior to this match was that Rich and Gilbert were threatened with suspension if they come in and interfere in this. So maybe, Dave, that's enough to keep them from busting up what could be a doggone good match.
Yes, indeed. Bell time, and let's get him going as Gorgeous George Third finally has all the paraphernalia out of the, at least on the ring apron for security to pick up. Crowd behind Wolfie D. He's calling for their support, and he's got it.
Okay, we're right at the point. We're sorry we got it started, but he killed a lot of time coming into the ring. We're going to have to take a break, and then we'll be back and continue this match. Whoa, Wolfie D wins it. We got to get out of here. We're out of time. And for Corey Macklin, Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying bye-bye. See you Monday with Reggie.